towards designing, implementing and sharing innovative development solutions, and look at innovative ways of financing, promote innovative financing, blended finance for actions to be implemented. This is new, and this is, I believe, very much the added value of the AIS. And this is because UNDP very much supports the idea of the initiative, support the development of your country, that we are very proud to be associated in this initiative. UNDP will bring its project management experience, but UNDP will also fulfill its mandate of facilitating cooperation between member states. And
yesterday, our senior official convened and deliberated on a number of issues. They have also held constructive discussion and concluded their deliberation on Manado Declaration on the establishment of AIS Forum. I am also pleased to note that way forwards of our cooperation were also discussed during yesterday's meeting. Before we proceed to the next agenda, I'd like us to watch a short video. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Mr. Purbaya Yudi Sadewa, Deputy Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, to present the report of Senior Official Meeting. Mr. Sadewa, you have the floor.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, the Government of the Republic of Indonesia and the United Nations Development Programme organized the third Senior Official Meeting, Archipelagic and Island States Conference in Manado, Indonesia, on the 31st of October 2018. The meeting was attended by representatives of countries, namely Cabo Verde, Cuba, Cyprus, Fiji, Guinea-Bissau, Indonesia, Jamaica, Japan, Malta, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, Seychelles, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Suriname, Timor-Leste, and United Kingdom. The meeting was held in a positive nature that was brought from the previous meetings and discussions. The latest one was the working breakfast meeting that was convened before the opening of the Our Ocean Conference 2 days ago in Bali, where President Palau, Minister from Fiji, Micronesia, and Mauritius, and high officials gathered and showed their positive support on the process of the establishment of AIS Forum. The third senior official meeting was held as a follow-up of the first senior official meeting of Archipelagic and Island States Forum that then agreed to submit the said draft to the Ministerial meeting to be adopted. Mr. Co-Chair, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to use this opportunity to seek guidance from this honorable meeting on the future activities of AIS Forum, including a possibility to hold a ministerial meeting every 2 years and the first summit of AIS meeting in 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I propose that we take note of the outcome of the senior official meeting. And the next agenda item is general remarks by all delegation. We will now start with the general statement from all delegation. I would like to suggest that we do it in alphabetical order, started by the minister and followed by the other head of delegation. In this case, I would like to invite a statement from Fiji. Honorable Minister, please. The floor is yours.
Honorable Ministers, respected heads of delegations, Governor of North Sulawesi, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to convey our deepest condolences to the people of Indonesia and families of the lives that were lost at the recent plane disaster. Our sincere thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims during these difficult times. Excellencies, the Fijian government has done more in growing our economy. For the past 9 years, the Fijian economy have grown to benefit every Fijian. Growth has been achieved through a program of resilient infrastructure development, record investment towards education, widening of our social safety net, and an expanded access to healthcare, naming a few. There are similar advances that many of us in this room can relate to. But all our progress, regardless of where we all face the extreme risk by the devastating perspective of climate change. For vulnerable archipelagic island states, all of our progress can be wiped out by a single climatic event. This is the disturbing reality that Fiji had the opportunity to highlight during our current term as the President of COP23. As President, Fiji took the role to represent all our vulnerable communities, including members of the AIS Forum, to call on the global community to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Whether we are a small island state or a large industrial power, we must all do more than our fair share if we are to avert climate devastation for our planet. Fiji speaks for every Fijian and AIS member countries, and for the billions of climate vulnerable people globally when we say we are not doing enough. We can and we must do more. That is why Fiji has called for greater ambition in climate access from all countries through the Kawanua dialogue. We have held hundreds of Kawanua dialogues already with great success in Bonn, in New York, Suva, and San Francisco. Fiji is also proud to say that with the Republic of Marshall Islands, we have become the first 2 countries in the world to signal our unreserved intention to raise the ambition of our nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement by 2020. We hope that other members and nations around the world will follow suit. All these actions call for greater support and collaboration. Additionally, tackling emissions alone is not enough. We need to redirect resources to build resilience across climate vulnerable economies. This can be done through financing to help vulnerable countries build resilience, while introducing innovative technologies to protect people's homes and businesses against climate-related disasters. Fiji appreciates the strong support of the nations represented here today towards the implementation of the Paris Agreement. We look forward to working with AIS member countries to urgently raise the ambition of our commitments under the Paris Agreement for the sake of our economies and for every young generation that we owe our commitment to. In the Fijian setting, with similar experiences in Indonesia and AIS countries, villages need to move due to climate change. Tropical cyclones are predicted to increase in intensity in the region. In February 2016, Fiji was struck by the most powerful tropical cyclone to ever hit the country. Cyclone Winston killed 44 Fijians and caused more than $1 billion worth of damages. This threat will continue as the effect of climate change combined with El Nino events and occurrences such as hurricanes produce adverse effects, which includes child mortality, respiratory illness, and malnutrition. We are already grappling with sea level rise and its effect on fertile agricultural land. The additional threat of climate change will undermine development gains and impede efforts of achieving SDGs. Excellencies, conserving and sustainably using our ocean requires a high level of integrated and at times rethinking of priorities. The Fijian government cannot re-emphasize our high regard for the ocean. We are acquainted with the ocean resources and depend on our means of survival for our people. To assert this as co-chair of the 2017 UN Ocean Conferences, a total of 17 voluntary commitments were approved by the Fijian government. The commitments provided strong indications of Fiji's leadership in conservation, management, and sustainable use of Fiji's marine resources. An example of this includes the passing of legislation which charges the use of plastic bags with the aim of eradicating the single-use plastic bags. Moreover, at the final day of the UN conference in 2017, a total of 1,370 voluntary commitments for the implementation of Goal 14 was accomplished. We remain committed towards ensuring the implementation progress to this commitment. Excellencies, Fiji hopes we can leave here educated and appreciative for what we can gain and offer as AIS members. It is our hope that we leave enlightened to enable us to rebuild resilience over the deteriorating health of our oceans, including the significant adverse impact of climate change. Let us work together and commit ourselves to sustain our resources for the betterment of our current generations, while ensuring there's enough left for our grandchildren. Before ending, allow me please to congratulate the government of Indonesia for the successful hosting of this first ever ministerial meeting of Archipelagic and Island States Forum. The government and the people of the Republic of Fiji is very pleased with your invitations and the hospitality accorded to us. We affirm our commitments to the objectives of this meeting, and Fiji is fully supporting the objective of these two meetings. We are committed to advance the implementation of the outcomes. Terima kasih and thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Next, St. Kitts and Nevis, Honorable Alexis Jeffers. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Let me start by conveying the sympathies of the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis on the difficulties you have faced recently with tsunami, which would have claimed some lives, and we certainly shared a part with you at this point in time. And this certainly underscores the importance of this particular forum and the impact that climate change continues to have in this region and throughout the world. Excellencies, fellow ministers, delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the Archipelagic and Island State Forum, it is an honor and privilege to be here in Manado, Indonesia, to represent the Twin Island Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I do extend warm regards to the government and people of Indonesia for hosting this prestigious meeting. This ministerial meeting has brought together many small island states with different cultures, histories, and socio-economic circumstances that are not only plagued by common challenges but also have shared purpose and ideals. This forum is timely and symbolizes a united force as we make positive strides towards effective, sustainable strategies and successful adaptation to climate change. As we are aware, small island developing states face the perplexing situation of being the least emitters of greenhouse gases, yet our island states suffer the greatest impact and cost associated with changing climatic conditions. The recent commemoration on the 13th of October of the International Day of Disaster Reduction serves as a vivid reminder of the need to reduce our risk as the frequency and destructive impact of disasters on our society continue to increase. The impacts of climate change even worsen and compound existing challenges of sustainability and further threaten our very existence. Today, among our small island states, hundreds of millions of people live at risk from threat of several natural and human-induced disasters. To underscore the significance of the AIS Forum, one must take into consideration the common challenges being faced, although on a different magnitude. There are avenues for cooperation in addressing these issues. Issues such as 1, single-use plastics. The prohibition of single-use plastics is salient as it is a major contributor to marine pollution and the destruction of our ecosystems. The need to build our resilience and reduce the vulnerability of our society has become more crucial than ever. 2, academia. The role of academia or academic institutions among the AIS Forum is important to build collaborative and international scientific networks that can assist in strengthening the link among research, practices, and policy development. Evidence-based decision-making among AIS is essential to driving innovations, products, and technologies that can help make our lives healthier, safer, and more sustainable, and of course more productive. Scholarships in various disciplines can be explored. Thematic areas are already expressed during the second senior officers meeting. Includes urban research and rescue operations, geographic information systems, disaster management, agriculture, fisheries, and hazardous materials that include chemical, biological, nuclear, radiological, and explosives. 3, disaster management. All AIS members must be encouraged to adapt or pursue a comprehensive disaster management approach to all the hazards to which their countries are prone. This approach must include the involvement of all sectors of society, taking action to make or to manage and reduce the disaster risk that they face. Vulnerability to disasters can only be minimized through a participatory approach for effective disaster risk reduction. AIS Forum should demonstrate that disaster risk reduction is an integral objective of environmental related policies and plans, which include land use plans and also building codes, natural resources and human settlement management. 4, Common Alert Protocol, early warning systems. The Common Alert Protocol, improved public alerting systems, is required in situation of potential disasters. Regardless of the type of hazardous situation, authorities should have the information they need to quickly warn people at risk, using all available communication media. The CAP, as it is referred, standard dissemination mechanisms for warning and alerts. It is a major challenge to assure that quality standard-based media public alerting system becomes available to societies worldwide. The World Meteorological Organization, for example, and the International Telecommunication Union are urging nations to implement alert systems that are CAP-enabled. 5. Public-private partnership. The importance of public-private partnership for trade facilitation, financing for development of infrastructure and services through simplification, standards, and harmonization of procedures and information areas should be established. The public-private partnership should be promoted by strengthening the various existing communication channels between the public and private sector. Training and workshops, seminars, all of these are important for all stakeholders in all of the necessary sectors to be a part of. AIS Forum should ensure that mechanisms and protocols are in place to receive and manage foreign donor financial and in-kind contributions for emergency response operation, projects and training programs. Ladies and gentlemen, delegates, in conclusion, climate change is real, and as such, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis reiterates its pledge of support to the establishment of the AIS Forum, and seek to further underscore its importance as we work together as small island states to come up with ideas, workable strategies, and a sensible framework for the implementation of these strategies. We are our brother's keeper, and as such, it is incumbent upon us to work together in the preservation of a legacy that we will leave behind for generations to come. I thank you, and may God continue to bless us all.
I would like to invite a statement from Timor-Leste, His Excellency Joseph Mao, for his words.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Your Excellency, the Governor of North Sulawesi Province of the Republic of Indonesia, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. It is a great honor to be a part of the Ministerial meeting of Archipelagic and Island State Forum on behalf of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. As the head of delegation representing Timor-Leste, I would like to take this opportunity to firstly extend my sincere gratitude for the official invitation to participate in this precious forum in Manado, Indonesia. The primary purpose of our presence for this particular event, aside from the joint declaration, is simply to share to all of you a message of expectation, hope, and conviction of how to manage and administer a healthy and secure ocean frontier that sustains the livelihoods, prosperity, social and cultural value of the people of all nations, especially to the people of Timor-Leste. As a young sovereign country, Timor-Leste is a small island geographically located in between Southeast Asia and Pacific Ocean. Total inhabitants is relatively small, with only 1.2 million. Being a young and small developing state does not hinder our dreams to have a strong political will and promote national consensus to work hard towards increasing the sustainability levels of economic development, assurance of peace, security, and stability in order to ensure a standard quality of life for current and our future generations. The economic development of Timor-Leste relies heavily, to some extent, on our oceans, for the instance, fisheries, tourism, trade, and cultural. The decision we make today and those in the future will direct on how sustainable economic of ocean development is all about. It is believed that by engaging a good cooperation across all levels, from government institutions to a private sector, national and global, will be the only mechanism to ensure joint cooperation and responsibility, as well as to ensure sovereign state in accordance to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. We must flourish a good solid cooperation and work hard towards the expected outcome that we want for the economic sustainable development for future generations to come. And our oceans are one of the resources that need to be protected through vigorous legal framework and international regulation in order to provide sustainable economic and social benefit to our citizens and serve to the international community as a whole. Aside from the covered issues of the AIS Forum on mitigation and adaptation measures, marine facilities, economic and good maritime governance, Timor-Leste is also bound commitments and responsibility to support and stand ready to the following 7 voluntary commitments. First is to implement a national pollution awareness campaign under our zero plastic policy to address the issue of plastic with particular attention to our oceans. Approve and implement our ocean policy to ensure we are all working towards the sustainable development of our marine area in close partnership with our neighbors. Third, address our knowledge gaps for our offshore fishing grounds to combat over-harvesting, illegal underwater and unregulated fishing while protecting the key biodiversity areas. Fourth, to review our fishing license and fee to ensure the balance between sustainable harvesting, food security, international and domestic fisheries. Map our vulnerable coastline to guide sustainable development and protect the fragile areas from climate change and impacts and sustainable development practice. Develop a suite nature-based tourism guidelines to protect the marine life while providing the best experience possible for tourists. Ratify 60 cities and to combat the illegal trade across the border of Timor-Leste to wildlife, and that of its neighbors. This is simple message of hope, expectation and conviction of our people of Timor-Leste who like to convey to all of you in this high-level occasion of the Ministerial meeting of the Archipelagic and Iceland State Forum. Thank you all for generous attention, and we are looking forward to a strategic economic development of AIS cooperation in the future to come. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite a statement from Cabo Verde, His Excellency Tania Romualdo. The floor is yours.
Excellencies, ministers, honorable governor, and delegates. First of all, I would like to convey the greetings of my minister, who couldn't be here today with us due to other and previous engagements. I would like to congratulate the Indonesian government and UNDP for the organization of this meeting, and also thank you for the excellent working conditions and the very warm welcome extended to all of us. As islander from a country which sea is 200 times the size of its land, it's a pleasure and an honor to be part of this very first ministerial meeting of AIS. this day is indeed historical, and I'm sure we will all look back to it with great satisfaction and pride. I'm convinced AIS will make a difference in our countries, which are all dealing with huge challenges in what comes to development and environment. None of us can do it alone. Governments, private sector, civil society, each one of us as individuals must work together, because together we are strong. Blue economy is the key, and it is my wish that we are gathered here today not to create just one more forum, but one that will have a direct and positive impact on the life of our populations and on the survival of islanders all over the world. I wish this forum a great success. Thank you.
I'd like to invite a statement from Cuba. Sorry, we move to Guinea-Bissau. His Excellency Mr. Carlos Antonio Moreno. The floor is yours.
Excuse me, my I cannot speak English. I understand that I cannot speak English. Please.
We can translate. We have an interpreter here. Please. Speak Portuguese, yeah. Oh, we have our neighbor ambassador, Timor-Leste, who can speak Portuguese very well. So this is the unique of this. So ambassador as an interpreter. Very good. Don't worry.
Thank you very much, Chair.
A Guiné-Bissau é um país continental e com 81 ilhas, 88 ilhas, com 19 habitadas e outras não habitadas.
Guinea-Bissau is a continental state with 88 islands, some with population and some others without population.
Apesar da sua situação geográfica não constituir por momento algum período.
Based on the geographical situation, at the moment doesn't constitute for a dangerous situation.
Mas a sua situação também constitui um período porque o mundo que vivemos hoje é constituído de sacos, prazos, e diversas outras situações, podem no futuro criar problema de dificuldade de sobrevivência.
The current situation of the climate change can also create a problem for the Guinea-Bissau in the future, especially the plastic debris can also create problem for Guinea-Bissau.
Essa situação de plástico tem sido uma grande preocupação para a Guiné-Bissau.
This is the plastic debris created a big concern to the government of Guinea-Bissau.
Tem sido lançadas campanhas para recolha de sacos plásticos.
There is a campaign to take plastic rubbish by the government of Guinea-Bissau.
Entretanto, julgamos que não viu bem a Guiné-Bissau se salvar dessa situação.
Although although we think that in a short period of time, that next how we will save this situation. I will take this opportunity to congratulate, to thank you. Thank you for the hospitality. I was working in Guinea-Bissau for 3 years, chair. So,
His Excellency Carlos Alberto, obrigado Barat. I really appreciate your presence here, and this is, I think, a very concrete cooperation. I cannot imagine an ambassador from Timor-Leste to be interpreted this evening, this morning. This is a great honor for us. Timor-Leste is a very good friend of Indonesia, and we have a long history with Timor-Leste. And ambassador, I think, also a good friend of mine, as well as the minister. So, I would like to invite a statement from Malta, His Excellency Mr. Stephen Borg. The floor is yours.
Honourable Minister, Honourable Governor of North Sulawesi, Head of UNDP, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues. Let me first of all, Honourable Minister, thank you for your words on the day of the establishment of the AIS Forum. Indeed, Malta wholeheartedly agrees with you that we are facing challenges that need us to come together to build synergies and develop innovative solutions. We also agree that islanders are resilient and open, and I think this has been one of the defining characteristics of us Maltese. So on behalf of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malta, I wish to thank the Government of Indonesia and your team for hosting this first ministerial meeting of Archipelagic and Island States Forum here in Manado. Indonesia's active leadership and initiatives to safeguard our oceans and their sustainability are warmly welcomed by Malta. In Malta, we have been deeply aware that island states, and small island states in particular, face a unique set of challenges and suffer disproportionate effects from these challenges. Malta has worked to overcome inherent vulnerabilities of small island states. One such case of disproportionate impact is, of course, that of climate change. We are all aware of what this brings: floods, rising sea levels, severe droughts, which are increasing dramatically and ferociously over the last few years. The special report on global warming by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, released on the 8th of October, has given us a stark warning of the dire situation that our planet is in and the need for urgent mitigation and action. So we believe that the Archipelagic and Island States Forum is a timely and useful response to address these challenges and to obtain the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 14, Life Underwater. We agree with the key areas of focus identified in our joint declaration, namely climate change, the blue economy in all its facets, marine litter and pollution, and maritime governance. Honourable Minister, on the 5th of October 2017, Joseph Muscat, the Prime Minister of Malta, welcomed the world's ocean community in Malta for our ocean conference organized by the European Union. In his welcoming address, he not only spoke about the challenges facing our ocean and the importance of ocean governance, especially for island states like Malta, but he also spoke about our commitments to reach the targets of SDG 14, including the commitment to designate 30% of our waters as marine protected areas. In the words of the Prime Minister, Malta has been one of the principal leaders in ensuring our ocean beds are declared the common heritage of mankind. Today I want to reconfirm that Malta is at the forefront ensuring that our oceans remain the preserve of our shared future. Of course, Indonesia has taken the baton and just hosted this year's Our Ocean Conference in Bali, and we commend the Indonesian government for the commitment and the cause that we all share. Honourable Minister, so Malta from the very inception has been at the forefront in ensuring that our ocean beds and our oceans are considered as shared values for everyone. And this was particularly done in the case of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. We also believe that in this endeavour, we need to treat our issues and problems as a whole. And this is also reflected in the preamble of UNCLOS. We believe also that in addition to addressing our challenges, we should be in a better position to reap the opportunities that our oceans give us, and through our blue economies, through innovative solutions, of course, and through the sharing of expertise and skills which some of our countries need due to, for example, our small population size or other constraints. As an island state and supporter of the multilateral and international community, we strongly believe we need to restore the health of our ocean by taking timely, coordinated action to address the challenges we face and reap the opportunities we have. We believe the AIS will help us achieve this goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I would like to invite a statement from Sri Lanka, His Excellency Mr. Dansana Pereira. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, Minister Luhut Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. Your Excellency, Oli Donbukandri, the Governor of North Sulawesi. Your Excellency, Deputy Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs, Mr. Christopher Bawe, Co-Chair and Country Director of the UNDP in Indonesia, Excellencies, Ministers from the AIS countries and heads of delegation. On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, I take this opportunity to thank the Indonesian government and the government of North Sulawesi for the warm hospitality extended to me and my delegation for the Archipelagic and Island States Forum today. This part of Indonesia has, of course, a special place in Sri Lanka because we have some of our significant investments here, one of which unfortunately destroyed with the unfortunate incidents of the Ballroom tsunami. But the investment in Bitung continues very much. So we're very much part and associated with your economy here on the Uganda. We gathered here, of course, at a historic moment as we formally launched the Archipelagic and Island States Forum at ministerial level, and thus establishing a forum which brings together no less than 46 UN member states for the first ministerial meeting. We congratulate Indonesia for the resounding success the process has achieved, culminating in this first ministerial meeting here in this lovely city of Manado. The progress made since 2017, when this forum was first conceptualized and initiated, is clearly due to the exceptional leadership shown in this endeavor by Indonesia and strongly supported by the UNDP. You have driven this process forward up to a notable level of maturity in a relatively short period of time, and we are very pleased to have been associated and been part of these efforts since its inception. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka is strategically located in the Indian Ocean, and thus is also very vulnerable to the effects of climate change. With 360 degrees of Indian Ocean embracing us, the ocean's role in our development is critical. Sri Lanka remains committed to the Paris Climate Agreement and the implementation of the 2030 Development Agenda. In particular, Sri Lanka is deeply committed to support the implementation of SDG 13 and SDG 14, which envision a global strategy to combat the impact of climate change and preserve and protect our oceans. Sri Lanka's blue-green development strategy aims to reap the benefits of the blue economy processes whilst adopting environment-friendly green development policies. We intend to extend partnership with like-minded countries in transforming Sri Lanka into a center of excellence in maritime affairs and the blue economy. A committed policy is for us to move forward on sustainable use of ocean-based resources. And in this regard, specific legislation has been brought in, including relating to sustainable fisheries, which prohibit the practice of bottom trawling. Ban on polythene-based products and the option of biodegradable alternatives have been brought in. We have joined the Clean Seas program, and we also emphasize in our public policy the need for co-opting the younger generations in our efforts of sustainable development. We also place critical importance on the land-based conservation, which impact on the health of our oceans as well. So we believe that that comprehensive approach to sustainable development and a blue-green economic approach will, in fact, have a positive impact on climate change. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are also indeed happy to extend our partnership as we launch the AIS Forum to address the common challenges faced in the area of climate change, disaster management, marine disaster debris, sustainable fisheries, and maritime governance, in addition to take advantage of opportunities offered by the blue economy. The mechanism for financing will be crucial as we focus on the development sphere and consider project-based activity and provide concrete results which impact on the ground. We are thankful to both Indonesia and the UNDP for the pledged seed funds for the establishment of the forum. Furthermore, we are supportive of the blended finance options and blue bonds, which could be developed and utilized for project-based activities. Use of innovative technology, including those options that are available in the Industry 4.0 era, should be harnessed to meet the challenges that are faced by archipelagic and island states. By bringing various stakeholders together and utilizing smart and innovative solutions, we believe the AIS will become a catalyst in achieving sustainable development while ensuring the health of our oceans. It is important that we ensure that AIS mature into and remain a dynamic development forum, complementing the existing fora, and thus creating important synergies in the regional and global processes. Sri Lanka looks forward to working closely with all AIS stakeholders in the years ahead. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I would like to invite a statement from Madagascar, Mr. Ravila Manatsua. Attentively, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to make my speech in French if somebody can translate, please.
another good example of cooperation. Mr. Christopher, I think he can speak French and we can translate it. Please, Excellency. So my office and Mr. Christopher also is very next of the 5-minute walk. So I can pay his fee for this lunch time in my office. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Ok. Je voudrais vous présenter d'abord la situation géographique de Madagascar.
First, like to introduce the geographic situation of Madagascar.
Madagascar est une grande île située à l'est de l'Afrique avec ses 592 000 km² et 5400 km de côte.
Madagascar is a large island situated on the east coast of Africa with 592,000 square kilometers and 5,400 kilometers of coastline.
Et Madagascar a maintenant environ 22 millions d'habitants.
With a population of about 22 million inhabitants.
Je voudrais aussi attirer votre attention que nous, en tant que ministère de la Pêche, nous sommes juste venus il y a de ça 4 mois en place et notre ministre, le monsieur Augustin de Manado, aurait bien voulu venir à cette conférence, mais par les malades,
Just like to draw your attention to the fact that our Minister of Fishery would have liked to attend the conference, was unable to do so.
Madagascar est une grande île, mais le problème c'est qu'il était un peu éloigné de toutes les civilisations et c'est pour nous un problème parce que c'est pas comme les îles de l'Indonésie, on est un peu éloigné, on est un peu isolé du reste du monde.
Madagascar is an island, but all problem has been that we are far away from civilization, and unlike the islands of Indonesia, we feel far away from the rest of the world.
C'est pourquoi il y a beaucoup de bateaux qui viennent pêcher autour de l'île sans toutefois avoir les autorisations.
And this may be why we have actually many ships coming to fish around our island, oftentimes without the proper authorizations.
Et je voudrais attirer l'attention de tout le monde qu'il y a de ça un mois, Madagascar notre président vient de signer avec un grand pays 330 bateaux de pêche pour venir à Madagascar et c'est qu'une première tranche.
And I would just like to inform you that not long ago the President of Madagascar signed with another large country an agreement whereby 332 fishing boats will be allowed to come to fish around Madagascar. And that's just the first agreement.
Le problème à Madagascar, c'est l'autoroute des cyclones qui viennent de l'Est et au moins 2 à 4 cyclones passent tous les ans à Madagascar.
Another problem challenge for Madagascar is that it's really located on the highways of typhoons, and every year we have at least 4 typhoons hitting the island.
N'empêche que Madagascar maintenant est en pleine expansion et dans une semaine il y aura une élection présidentielle chez nous.
Those challenges notwithstanding, Madagascar is on a growth trajectory, and in 1 week time there will be a presidential election.
Et je pense qu'on est dans les champions pour les candidats parce qu'il y aura 36 candidats.
And I think we are one of the leading countries with respect to the number of candidates, because Madagascar will have 36 candidates for the presidential election.
Ainsi, nous souhaitons, après une semaine, qu'il y aura une élection paisible et calme pour nous.
And we just hope now for a peaceful election to take place in Madagascar in 1 week time.
Bon, c'est tout pour moi et merci beaucoup à tout le monde.
This is what I wanted to share with you about Madagascar, and I thank you for your attention.
I went to Madagascar, to Antananarivo 4 times, 2010. Beautiful Antananarivo, and I love very much the French cuisine over there. Thank you very much. I would like to invite a statement from Papua New Guinea, Mr. Fran Miziki. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Minister Sajaitan. Thank you for your presence, Governor, for Sulawesi, ministers, delegations, ambassadors, the UNDP co-chair, ladies and gentlemen. We are gathered here. The initial discussions was in June 2017 at the margins of the UN Ocean Conference. After 3 rounds of senior officials meeting, we are in Manado. We made progress. Our ministers are here to endorse our work. For some of us, the responsible ministers are not here going to work commitments at home. Our meeting, the initial ministerial forum runs almost back to back after the 5th Ocean Conference in Bali. Ministers, each country has its own peculiar experiences, and a forum like this will enable each and every one of us to share knowledge, best practices, new innovative technologies for sustainable fisheries in our marine resources of our EZ and beyond the ocean or the high seas, in respect to the SDGs. The Manado Declaration of the AIS, once adopted, is the beginning of an echo for the AIS states, and with time, Papua New Guinea hopes that the intent and purposes of the AIS can and will be realized with our concerted efforts and commitments for our mutual benefit. In this regard, Papua New Guinea would like to share some domestic experiences in relation to one IUU. PNG, in fact, has been named one of the few developing countries as having some of the best fisheries management framework policies and procedures in the world. That is a template for countries for compliance to laws on IUU fishing by the Director General of Fisheries and Marine to ensure long-term sustainability of fisheries and marine resources. The National Plan of Action IU enlists the specific actions, action items that are developed and implemented to prevent the occurrence of IU fishing. The National Plan of Action is based on the UN FAO International Plan of Action to detect, prevent, and eliminate IU fishing. This is a living document and has been reviewed 4 times by key stakeholders in PNG. It has also been deleted by the EU. Through this process of consultation, a number of key action items have been achieved. This is one of the 2 local actions that we in Papua New Guinea are taking to sustainable fisheries. And the second that I'd like to share with the meeting is just north of the equator, down from Palau. There's an area that we in Papua New Guinea have committed. That area is called the Manado Square, and it is marine managed area under the UN Ocean Conference voluntary commitment towards attaining sustainable fisheries in the Western and Central Pacific. The MMA under the UN voluntary commitment is a breeding ground for important tuna species in the Western Pacific that has been identified for compulsory closure to any fishing. Manado Square is therefore closed from the deployment of fishery aggregate devices and any fishing activity throughout any given licensing period. This is a very important stock recruitment or breeding ground for tropical tuna species in Western Pacific Ocean. The PNG government has realized the significance of this area and has taken a decision as a government and enacted local legislation and gazetted it in September 2014, making it illegal for any activity by fishing, foreign fishing vessels. So with these few updates from our domestic activity in terms of what we are doing, I'd like to say thank you for allowing the PNG to make a few remarks on this. Thank you, Chair.
I would like to invite a statement from Japan, Dr. Yuki Sakushika.
Thank you very much. His Excellency Mr. Lufuto Ginsa Panjatan, Foreign Minister for Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, distinguished co-chairs, Mr. Christopher Papir, Country Director, UNDP Indonesia, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, Governor of North Sulawesi, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and privilege to have an opportunity to attend the first ministerial meeting of the Archipelagic Island State Forum, AIS. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Republic of Indonesia for its initiative and hospitality extended to us. In particular, I would like to pay my deepest appreciation for His Excellency Mr. Lufuto for his strong leadership to make this meeting happen. Japan is an island country surrounded by the sea. We greatly rely on the sea for our existence. We live with the sea, we live by the sea, and we live in the sea. Therefore, Japan has been deeply interested in marine affairs, so that we welcome this first ever ministerial meeting of the Archipelagic and Island States Forum as a valuable opportunity in which we could exchange our respective views on our own challenges. Marine issues are now the center of the global attention on development. Global forums such as G20 and G7 pay due attention to this issue, while the United Nations has just held an annual meeting of the high-level panel on a sustainable ocean economy, to which Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is a member. We highly commend today's meeting as very much timely. As for our common challenges, we fully agree with the importance of the following 4 elements stated in B. Economic challenges and opportunities consisting of blue economy, responsible and sustainable fisheries, aquaculture, economic growth, and creation of decent working opportunities. C. Marine plastic debris. And D. Good maritime governance. In close collaboration with the member states, Japan is ready to address these their common challenges based on our experience and expertise, both bilaterally and multilaterally. On this variable opportunity, I would like to introduce to the member states some Japan's contribution and position on these matters. We, archipelagic and island states, are particularly vulnerable for the worst effects of climate change and natural disasters. Japan itself is not an exception. Historically, Japan has been seriously damaged by natural disasters such as great earthquakes and tsunamis, and recently by extreme weather such as intense heavy rain caused by climate change. Based on such experience, Japan has been tackling the issue of climate change and natural disasters financially and technically in collaboration with global communities. Our efforts cover many areas such as disaster-resilient infrastructure development, capacity building, promotion of introducing renewable energy, and so on. Among the areas we attach much importance is how to reduce the risks caused by tsunamis. In addition to providing tsunami-resilient infrastructure and capacity building through our cooperation program, we are now trying to raise awareness of tsunami-related risks globally. Our efforts finally came to fruition with the support of the global community as the World Tsunami Day, established by Ministerial Assembly to raise awareness of tsunami risks. In this context, I would like to express my deepest condolences to the people and the government of Indonesia over the recent earthquake and tsunami. Japan is firmly resolved to contribute to recovery and the reconstruction of the disaster-affected region with partners of the international community. Responsible and sustainable use of maritime resources is a key for realizing prosperous and sustainable island community. As a country of resource scarcity, Japan has made effective and extensive use of maritime resources in diversified ways. Based on such experience and expertise, we have carried out capacity building programs on effective resource preservation and protection policy in many countries. In this regard, we think it is crucial for island states to promote sustainable fisheries because it will provide a solid foundation for stable employment opportunity and reducing disparity in these countries. In this context, Japan has enhanced its cooperation program in development of the fishing industry in many island countries. In this regard, we would like to reiterate IUU, illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing remains a threat to the sustainable use of marine resources. We should accelerate our concerted endeavor to tackle these measures. Among issues dealt with in this AIS forum, Japan thinks it is important for global community to address marine debris very much urgently. Marine debris will have negative impact and serious damage to marine environment and economy if it is unkept and addressed. Japan has been taking a lead in global monitoring on microplastics, while we think it is important to promote our concerted efforts to tackle root causes, that is, waste management on the land. Therefore, we have been enhancing 3R concepts, namely reduce, reuse, and recycle, and it related activities worldwide. In addition, we are now promoting our advanced technology, such as clean burning and waste-to-energy technology globally, to address these issues. Global community has to accelerate our shared endeavor. Japan is going to host the G20 Leaders Summit in Osaka next year. We are resolved to take a lead in global discussion on marine debris by putting the issue on G20's agenda and making an announcement on initiatives for effective measures to tackle this issue. We hope that Japan's efforts will give momentum for the entire global community and drive international measures to help resolve the issue. Last but not least, good maritime governance is a critical factor to overcome our common challenges. Japan firmly believes free and open consortia provide a fundamental basis for peace, security, and prosperity for the global community. Therefore, we would like to stress the importance of promoting maritime security and safety, freedom of navigation, and overflight based on the rule of law. Japan has made tremendous efforts to preserve and enhance the rule of law and good maritime governance, and will spare no effort to tackle this important agenda. In concluding, I'd like to reiterate our expectation that this AIS forum will play an important and constructive role in raising awareness and deepening understanding for the challenges we share, exploring practical and innovative solutions for these challenges, and enhancing our solidarity. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite a statement from the Philippines, Mr. Manuel. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs, Your Excellency, Governor of North Sulawesi, Excellencies, please allow me to extend our gratitude to the Government of Indonesia for the warm and generous hospitality extended to this delegation. We are very satisfied that the proceedings went smoothly, so our congratulations to the men and women behind the success of this forum. Your efforts in preparing a well-thought-out program and presentations underscore the sincerity of Indonesia in meeting the challenges confronting Archipelagic and island states. It is with the same sincerity that the Philippines will consider the message of the Manado Joint Declaration, ever cognizant of the Philippines' commitment to turn its promises into action and always in unity with like-minded states. Thank you, Excellencies.
Thank you, Excellency. I would like to invite a statement from Jamaica, Mr. Slater Dede. The floor is yours.
First of all, thank you very much for the time here. And with deep sincerity, allow me to express thanks to the Senior Minister and the Governor of North Sulawesi for me to participate in this very important and basic forum. Jamaica indeed is other many island states in Pacific and Atlantic, and even island as part of continental states. If I may mention Puerto Rico and Hawaii, or the United States, and Caledonia, or France. And it is very much vulnerable to the impact of climate change and damages caused by sea cavities and other polluted matters of the sea and ocean. And therefore, any efforts to cope with these issues, in particular through the establishment of this AIS forum and its future programs and cooperation, we what initiated will be highly appreciated and supported. Participations of non-island states, but yet having islands, as I mentioned before, plus the UNDP and develop island states, if I may say, Japan, UK, New Zealand, and other international organizations, associations, I think that would be highly appreciated to support the movement and the mission of this AIS forum. And for the reasons, if I may suggest, further or larger cooperation, broader cooperation for this issue, as good to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to invite a statement from Cyprus, Mr. Rangini. The floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semuanya. Your Excellency Bapak Luhut Panjaitan, Coordinating to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, of the Republic Indonesia. Managing Mayor of the Republic Indonesia. Your Excellency, Governor of Sulawesi Utara, and Your Excellency Bapak Purbaya as Chairman of this forum, Your Excellency of TNPP as Co-Chairman, Your Excellency the Minister and Delegate of Archipelagic and Island Forum, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, selamat pagi, good morning. Let me begin my remarks by extending my gratitude and appreciation your participation in this meeting. I hope these 2 days will be fruitful and serve a solid foundation for the future cooperation and collaboration among us. As Honorary Council of Cyprus of Republic Cyprus, allow me to forward His Excellency Mr. Nicholas Epiprodous, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cyprus, deep regret as he cannot be here with us today. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Cyprus understands the importance of effort, therefore will be continue to support and hope success this meeting. We will immediately report this result of the meeting to the Governor of Cyprus. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite a statement from Singapore, Mr. Suresh Kumar. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Luhut Panjaitan, Governor of North Sulawesi, Bapak Oli Dondokabe, UNDP Co-Chair, Mr. Christophe Ore, distinguished colleagues. On behalf of the Singapore delegation, I would like to convey our appreciation to the Government of Indonesia and the UN Development Programme, UNDP, for their efforts in organizing the first ministerial meeting of the Archipelagic and Island States Forum and its associated meetings, as well as for the kind hospitality that has been extended to us. Singapore and Indonesia are close neighbours who work together on a wide range of sectors of mutual interest and benefit to both our peoples. The participation of the Singapore delegation at this meeting is testament to the close partnership between our two countries. Singapore would also like to commend Indonesia and the UNDP for the successful establishment of the AIS Forum and the fruitful discussions at the third senior officials meeting that took place yesterday, which have given the forum clearer direction and scope as framed by the Manado Joint Declaration. We hope that this positive momentum can continue and the forum will turn its focus to achieving concrete and practical outcomes moving forward. Singapore recognizes the importance of sustainable development, especially for archipelagic and island states. As a small, low-lying island city-state with limited land and no natural resources, we are vulnerable to the effects of climate change and can understand well the challenges related to sustainable development. We are therefore supportive of the efforts encouraging greater dialogue on these important issues, including through the AIS Forum. From our experience, human resource development is a critical building block for sustainable development and growth. Singapore recognizes that each country's development journey is unique. Nevertheless, just as Singapore has benefited from learning of the experiences of other countries, we feel that it is our responsibility to do the same. We have endeavored to achieve this through the Singapore Cooperation Programme, or SCP, that was launched in 1992. Under the SCP, Singapore organizes capacity building courses and shares our experience with fellow developing countries. In 2015, we launched a technical assistance package called the Sustainable Development Programme, through which we work with non-governmental organizations and international organizations like the UNDP to provide capacity building in areas of good governance, sustainable cities, and water and sanitation management. Singapore encourages our partners, including from the developing archipelagic and island states, to not only participate in such capacity building programs, but also provide feedback on gaps which may exist. Singapore also sees climate change as an important issue to contend with and is taking climate actions on two fronts: mitigation and adaptation. Increasing energy and carbon efficiency will continue to be our key strategy to reduce emissions across all sectors. In addition, we have started and will continue to invest in infrastructure to prepare Singapore for the impacts of climate change, such as improving our stormwater management systems and the resilience of our water supply. Distinguished delegates, I would like to conclude by saying that even though our countries are at different stages of development and implementation of sustainable development goals, we are all headed in the same direction. The AIS Forum provides a unique and useful platform for discussion and exchange of views. To ensure its continued effectiveness, we must ensure that we, as participants in this forum, remain coordinated and avoid duplication of work done in other groupings, such as the Alliance of Small Island States, the Pacific Island Developing States, and the Caribbean Community. On behalf of my delegation, I would like to once again thank Indonesia for hosting the AIS Forum. We look forward to working together with other countries and development partners to build up our collective ability to address the complex and shared challenges of sustainable development and climate change. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite a statement from United Kingdom, Mr. Adrian Jones. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs, Deputy Minister, Governor, Excellencies, I'm very pleased to be representing the United Kingdom here today, and I congratulate Indonesia for putting together such an impressive program, and you, Governor, for giving us a privileged insight into the culture, economy, and natural beauty of North Sulawesi. I think it's particularly impressive, given that so much of your energy has understandably been focused on responding to the recent tragedies here in Sulawesi, as well as in Bali and Lombok. And I offer the UK's condolences once again for the great loss of lives, including sadly this week with the recent air crash as well. And we stand ready to help in any way we can. I congratulate the Indonesian government in convening this unique forum of archipelagic and island states. We are a very diverse group, large and small, at different stages of development. So what do we have in common? Well, as archipelagic and island states surrounded by water, we are particularly dependent on the ocean for our economic and, in some cases, our physical survival. Our trade and communications are overwhelmingly by sea. Some of us around this table literally have nowhere to escape to in the face of rising seas. 95% of the UK's imports and exports travel by sea. The global average is around 80%. So the ocean separates the UK from the rest of the world, but at the same time integrates us into a global economy. And when we talk about the UK also has 14 overseas territories across the globe, and they face a variety of challenges. Those in the Caribbean were particularly hit hard by the devastating hurricanes in 2017. The ocean is part of our global life support system. It generates, stores and distributes around the globe's life essential elements such as carbon, oxygen and nitrogen, and drives the world's climate system. Life originated in the sea, and today is home to a vast range of plants and animals which provide a food source to billions of people and support the livelihoods of coastal populations around the world. An expanding global population and growing economies are driving an increase in the demand for goods, services and resources transported by or taken from the ocean. By 2030, international trade will double, and the demand for water, minerals, energy and seafood will also increase significantly. As a result, the ocean economy is predicted to double in size to around $3 trillion. And this presents both significant challenges but also opportunities for all of us. And clearly, as we've heard from other speakers this morning, the deteriorating state of the ocean environment affects us all. Carbon emissions are leading to acidification, the warming of the ocean, nutrient runoff from farming is depleting oxygen in the water, plastics and other forms of pollution are choking, suffocating and this forum, I think, will play a useful role in ensuring that the particular interests of archipelagic and island states are taken into account as new agreements under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea are developed. I think it is important to recognise, as Singapore mentioned, that there is a lot already happening, a lot of different organisations, a lot of different initiatives, and so it's important to focus on the value added that this group can provide. And I think it will add value to what's already happening, and in particular by focusing on actions and looking, as I said earlier, at those small-scale entrepreneurs and helping to build up local initiatives. So once again, I the United Kingdom congratulates Indonesia and the coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs for its leadership in this forum in partnership with UNDP, and we look forward to this forum succeeding. Thank you.
I would like to invite a statement from Sao Tome and Principe, Mr. Jalden Perez da Santos Aguirre. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Honorable Ministers and heads of delegation, Mr. Governor of North Sulawesi, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. Selamat pagi. To begin with, I would like to also express, on behalf of the government of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, our deepest condolences for the recent tragic events that have desolated this country, with reference to the most recent one at the beginning of this week. Our solidarity rests with the ones who have perished, with their families, and the friendly people and government of Indonesia. It is also a pleasure for us, the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, to be represented here today at this very first meeting of the Ministerial meeting of the Archipelagic and Island States Forum. I'm here representing the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Just briefly to tell you that we very recently held the legislative elections, so we are in the process of forming a new parliament, and therefore the ministers are engaged in that process. I would start also to say that Sao Tome and Principe, as the second smallest nation in Africa, with a land territory of roughly 1,000 square kilometers, we face a major problem, which is the size of our maritime territory, which is 160 times bigger than our land. This is a major challenge not only in controlling and the surveillance of the marine activities in our shores, but also in how to better address the challenges of the blue economy. Thus, at every forum that we can be represented and we can participate and share in ideas are helping us dealing with this. We hope that the Archipelagic and Island States Forum does constitute a unique opportunity to address clearly these issues through the design, sharing, and implementation of innovative solutions, and also by finding new financing tools that actually can permit us to share ideas and to put them in place to solve the global problem not only of climate change, but also at the marine later in the best and not the best use the benefits of our watersheds. That being said, we would like to congratulate the efforts that have been put in place to organize the meeting by the Indonesian authorities. All the work that has been done at the senior official meeting in preparing the joint declaration, and all the logistics put in place that are saw us coming here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite Suriname, Mr. Statis Mohan. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, congratulate the Governor and the Republic of Indonesia for hosting this meeting. Mr. Chair, Suriname is located in South America, in the heart of the, as part of the Amazonian rainforest. But Suriname is also regarded as the most Amazonian country in the world. Our forest cover is 93% of our land. Our small country was already combating climate change mitigation even before the existence of climate change conventions, and we will continue to do so. Climate change affects Suriname as much as other nations because more than 80% of our economy and population is situated in the low-lying coastal area. Among others, sea level rise will affect us, will affect how we continue as a society. Attending this meeting as one of the only two non-islands, but by definition we are a small island development state. Suriname has a population of 600,000 people and a surface area of 160,000 square kilometers. But our territorial waters are also nearly as big as our surface area. So, as much as we need to protect the surface area, we also need to protect the marine area. Suriname again has committed itself to develop while protecting our forest and forest cover and stay a carbon negative society. Establishment of the AIS forum can complement us in our common and our own development goals while fighting the effects of climate change. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite Seychelles, Mr. Nico Barito. The floor is yours.
Excellency, Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Governor of North Sulawesi, Bapak Wali Kambe, His Excellency Country Director of UNDP for Indonesia, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors, and distinguished delegates. I would like to start by expressing our congratulations for Indonesia for taking this initiative to launch the new forum of Archipelagic Island States, which I believe is very important since the world have more oceans than the land. And our compliments also to Indonesia for the warm hospitality accorded to the delegates for us to enjoy the beautiful province of North Sulawesi and the beautiful Manado. Excellencies, let me begin by explaining a little bit about where Seychelles is and what Seychelles has been working on. As we all know that Seychelles is a small island nation located in the Indian Ocean. We have 115 islands with a population of less than 100,000. But we are happy that today, with our commitments to the maritime biodiversity, our commitment to marine protected areas, we have success in developing our maritime economy and our fishery economy to such a level that Seychelles today have embarked from developing small island states to become a developed country with an income per capita of about 26,000. Despite that we are small, we have good connectivities. There are about 17 international flights that come to Seychelles daily. Seychelles and Indonesia have very good relationships. As a matter of fact, we have been trying to share the best practice that Seychelles have achieved in developing small island tourism and how we become a high-end country because of island tourism and sharing this to small islands in Indonesia. As Coordinating Minister would know that we have already working in AIS in North Sumatra. We also now work closely with Manado Island in East Kalimantan, and of course with Governor of North Sulawesi in Sangir Island. Yeah. believe that sharing of this kind of best practice also is important among the Archipelagic island states, because this way Indonesia has a big islands and Seychelles is a small island, but Indonesia has so many islands. And if the local economy of the islands can be empowered by sharing the best practice of Seychelles, this proves that we have a realistic and coherent cooperations. Excellencies, I would call on AIS to look at a lot of other initiatives that have been undertaken by many ocean-based organizations. As you know, that small islands have been working closely with SIDS, AIS, and there are so many stakeholders today talking about this ocean initiative. And the Sustainable Development Goals of Ocean Initiative, I believe, can be achieved highly if there is a sustainable balance of economy between the big island nations with natural resources, ample of natural resources, and with the small island states. This is isolated somewhere in the islands, in the oceans. For this, we call on the AIS hopefully to consider to look at AIS as a new forum which will anchor a new economy based on the ocean value towards the resilience of the ocean of the world. I'm happy to announce that during the 2 days ocean conference in Bali, 2 days ago, myself and my vice president launched a Blue Bonds. This is one of the first innovative financing models that we launched, supported by World Bank and GEF. The reason for us to come up with these Blue Bonds is when we embark from developing country to developed country, we have no more resource of asking for assistance and help. But we have to maintain our commitments to the ocean. When the world look at Seychelles on the map, it's almost nowhere in the Google map. It's so small, right? But at the end, our ocean miles is 1.4 million square kilometers. So we have such a big ocean miles, and I believe that our friends that come from other island states here also are not only a small island in the dot in the map, but we are like guardian of the oceans. We preserve the ocean of the world, we care for the ocean of the world, because we have small populations and we don't consume so much of the ocean resources. Under that vision, the Blue Economy Initiative was brought up, because we believe there is a strong economy in the oceans. Our Blue Bonds is launched for, like the sovereign bonds, where we raise funding. And through the Blue Bonds, we use this money with a guaranteed return to the investors. And the Blue Bonds is used to empower our maritime economy, to empower our local fishery, to empower capacity building, and to give a great opportunity for preservation of the marine biodiversity. We are happy to share these options. We are happy to share this strategic innovative finance that we have been doing to friends from Archipelagic island states. Finally, we reaffirm our commitments to the Archipelagic island states forums, and we look forward to be able to work together now and in the future. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Tonga, Mr. Aula Ofolamau. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, Mr. Chairman, Governor of Manado, Sulawesi, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government of the people of Tonga and the President of the people of Indonesia for the invitation, and to the Governor of Sulawesi and the people of Manado for their kind hospitality in hosting us for this important forum, and all those that have been entertained. Will join us in conveying our condolences for lives lost and devastation caused in Palu, as well as the aviation incidents recently. Mr. Chairman, we have achieved a lot since we submitted our national event contributions in Paris in 2015 as follows. 50% renewable energy generation by 2020, set to achieve 30% marine protected areas of our AIS by 2030, where we currently have 8 MPAs. Equally important, we have 28 special management areas, or SMAs, to protect, preserve, and enhance the marine life in these coastal areas. We're targeting to have 15 MPAs in the next 2 years and also another 30 SMAs. Tonga has successfully concluded its Rich Creek or Outdoor project, which targeted to preserve, revitalize, and clean up pollution associated with farmlands, coastal settlements, livelihood, and marine life of its communities. The stress base of our tour, representing 55% of our total communities, and we want to complete the whole of Tonga within the next 5 years. We're currently developing a marine special camp for our OEZ, which we had started with mapping out of our ocean floor, grouping them into types of marine species in the ocean. An integral part of this plan is reducing pollution and plastic waste in the ocean, where we endeavor to complete this plan by 2020, given lots of work to be carried out from the ocean floor to the people living in the coastal areas, lots of consultations and resources provided. As you may be aware, Tonga was hit by Category 4 tropical cyclone Peter in February this year. Despite damage caused, the resilience of the people and the communities in the response by helping each other was and will always be a successful story to tell. We have responded well with the assistance of our Tongan partners. It is this kind of resiliency that we want to further develop and enhance to achieve our targets despite all the challenges. These are a few examples, Mr. Chairman, that I want to share with you in our commitment to clean and preserve our ocean. Therefore, this is a forum understanding, and we will fully support the adoption of the Manado Declaration and the establishment of AIS Forum. And again, we thank you for your kind host and initiative, and we hope and look forward that this is the start of our engagements, our collaboration, and working together to achieve sustainable development goals and our national goals. And importantly, to save our ocean, our people, our planet, and our future.
Thank you. Next, Indonesia, I would like to invite Mr. Fabian Alpianto. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Excellency Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs, Excellency Ministers, Ambassadors, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Ocean plays an integral part in the daily life and history of Indonesian people. Now allow me to be direct and talk about the importance of ocean and of this living. Our planet is mostly covered by ocean, which are the lifeblood of planet Earth. But today, archipelagic and island states are facing similar challenges due to their geographic circumstances and an imposed obstacle for development. The challenges include, but not limited to, sustainable fisheries, susceptibility to natural disaster, high vulnerability of climate change, especially rise of temperatures and sea levels, and last but not least, marine pollution. Not only the biodiversity, marine habitats and species, but our population also depends on the health of our ocean. The solution to its many problems do not lie in the responsibility of one state, but to all of us. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in addressing these challenges, we believe that more cooperation among archipelagic and island states at the global level are much needed in complementing regional initiatives. We should be committed to identifying and working toward actionable, concrete collaboration and partnership in the areas of climate change mitigation, adaptation and disaster management, economic challenges and opportunity, which consists of blue economy, responsible and sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. We are aware that there are various existing organizations, platforms, and institutions including the conference that was attended by many of you yesterday, the Our Ocean Conference in Bali. Therefore, I believe that the historic establishment of Archipelagic and Island States Forum could complement and not duplicate efforts in addressing common challenges faced by Archipelagic and Island States. This initiative will also involve all the stakeholders and seek the opportunity on how those institutions could support development of sustainable blue economy and Archipelagic and Island States. Moreover, AIS will also be a platform and a marketplace for smart and innovative solutions by establishing a network for business from startup through working groups and meetings, by strengthening our joint effort through smart and innovative solutions in addressing challenges close to our coast and border, by fostering close collaborating amongst government, youth, civil society, academics, startup, philanthropists, industry, private sector, and by implementing innovative financial solutions for SDGs development projects, specifically in the context of achieving SDG Goal 14. Excellencies, to conclude my remarks, I would like to reiterate once again our appreciation for the countries that participated in this important meeting. I hope that the discussion today will generate more innovative ideas in furthering our cooperation, while at the same time strengthening our commitment to multilateralism. So let us make AIS as an inclusive and sustainable avenue, as well as serve as a forum for creating innovative solutions in addressing our common challenges, thus creating a better future for our next generation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. As we reported earlier of the outcome of the senior official meeting, which was held yesterday, our senior officials proposed that the Manado Declaration on the establishment of AIS Forum to be adopted today. I now propose that we adopt the Manado Declaration on the establishment of AIS Forum. Are there any objections? If there are no objections, then that is so happened. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I believe that we are all agreed that AIS Forum will become a development platform, a platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration and cooperation. AIS must be a forum to solve problems through smart and innovative solutions. In that regard, what we need is smart policy, smart people, and smart action. In this agenda item, I would like to present to you three representatives of Indonesia startups, which will elaborate their innovative work on handling pre-production, production and post-production of fisheries industry by utilizing information technology. After presentation from the startups, we will then continue this session by hearing a presentation from Frank Mars, philanthropist and leaders of Mars Foundation, who for many years has dedicated his time and resources to tackle marine biodiversity issue through coral reef restoration program. It will then follow by Ms. Cherry Nusalim from Business and Sustainable Development Indonesia. She will outline how the alternative financing solutions such as blended finance can help Indonesia to achieve sustainable development goals. The last agenda in the session is the announcement and inauguration of the winner of Visualcon competition of marine plastic debris. And this competition was set up by Coordinating Minister of Maritime and UNDP a couple of months ago to increase public awareness, attract youth involvement to restore marine plastic debris. And we like also to inform you that Blue Health Economy also will give the presentation in this time. Let me add, ladies and gentlemen, managed to attract 305 participants and 63 submissions from all over Indonesia. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, all the presenters have been developing smart ideas and innovative resolutions to some of our pressing problems, particularly with regard to ocean issues. Their ideas and action, I believe, would inspire us and drive us to implement our commitment for future cooperation under AIS platform. Without further ado, I would like to invite the representative of startup, private sector and philanthropies to deliver their presentation. You have the floor.
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having us here. And I would like to present you about the fisheries startup ecosystem in Indonesia. So, let me first introduce myself. My name is Faris Bugarminda from Global Indonesia, an aquaculture investment platform. And then, as we take a look back at Indonesia, we all know that Indonesia is one of the most potential country in terms of marine fisheries resources, and we believe that we can still develop and utilize the resources that we have for the community. And right now, in other hand, we also see that a lot of fish farmers, a lot of coastal communities, they have two biggest problems. The first one is that they do not have enough educational and technical capability in terms of education, so that they cannot start their business in more conceptualized way. And the second problem is that they do not have enough funding and or capital to start their business in aquaculture industry or fisheries industry. Therefore, we initiate the solution through our startup programs. The first one is called Global. Global is a crowd investment startup where we gather a lot of investors across Indonesia, and next is we distribute the money that we gather to the fish farmers so that they can establish their farms, their own farms. And then after the process, we can share the profit that we get from that startup. The second one is Ministerial. Ministerial is more like land and fish farmers acquisition startup. So they work with the community, they educate them, and they work closely with them in more technical way. They work on aquaculture sectors. And then the third one is Mina Indonesia. Mina Indonesia is an education platform where they run capacity building for fish farmers and students and all the coastal communities across Indonesia. And we still believe that by collaborating each other with this startup ecosystem, we believe that we can still develop the potential resources in Indonesia, how we use that, and how we deliver it to the community and make it more sustainable. I think that's all for me. Thank you very much.
So, good morning, Your Excellencies. Now I would like to share about the problem from the production or cluster of production. So, based on the review and the research on the field, we would like to share that most of the problem after they get the funding, let's say they get the funding, they want to start to work in the field, they still have some problems to tackle, like whether they could get the profits or they could get the result as they expected. So that's where the technology comes in. And here I'm representing the 4 startups that is trying to empower the farmers and provide the technology to increase their productivity. First, there's Iwake. So Iwake is the farmer itself. and they grab the practitioners, the students, to join and empower them, especially to design the efficient ponds construction. And the second, there is Jala. Jala is a data startup company that can provide the device to monitor the water quality, and also the platform that the farm can try to manage their ponds efficiently by putting this focusing on the stream industry. And the third, there is Fislop. Like this startup is focusing to provide the cold storage and also mini plants close to the farm, so the supply and demand can fit like easily. And the fourth, there is Ocean Fresh. This startup is focusing on diversifying the product after the algae cultivation, and they try to get more products to develop the health and also foods. And the last one was skincare, sorry. And yeah, here we, all of the startups, try to tackle the problem. I have partnered till like 400 or 500 around Indonesia, and some of us are having the clients worldwide already. Therefore, like, we want to tackle more problems, we want to get more impacts. That's why, like, here we presenting this one to ask for collaboration, not only in Indonesia but maybe abroad. So that's from me representing the production cluster. I'm Manuel Sanka from Java. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After all of those, starting from the preparation of the production until the production processing itself, then where the fishermen and the farmers sell the products. Mostly, they sell the products to the middleman with cheap price. They have no access to sell the product directly to the market. And another problem is the consumption rate of fish in Indonesia is low. It's because when the seafood product comes to the customer, the price is expensive. Why it has to be expensive? In fact, Indonesia is an archipelagic country and one of the biggest seafood producers in the world. It's because of long supply chains in this industry. Then Aruna Indonesia comes to provide the solution of this. We provide an application that can be used by the fishermen and the farmers to be able to interact with the B2B market and also provide the traceability data using our traceability system. And then they have, meanwhile, Nalayan.id provides a platform for end consumer with an online to offline omni-channel approach, so that it will be more efficient supply chain and the problem can be solved. And in the fishermen, and in the end, the fishermen will be more prosperous, and the consumption level of fish in Indonesia will increase. You could see that our ocean is precious for our life, but right now it is threatened by the waste and pollution. So there's another startup, Waste for Change, comes with solution to create responsible waste management and implement the circular economy. And here we are, startup in maritime industry to create an integrated, sustainable maritime business ecosystem for better maritime in the world. I would like to introduce the man and the wonder woman behind all of these startups. I am myself, my name is Rangi from Aruna Indonesia, and then here's my colleague Sanka from Jala. And then another, Mr. Puku from Global, and another, our college. Can you please come here? Here's Faiz from Indonesia, and then Faris from Ocean Fresh, and then Mr. Reza from Iwake, Bintang from Nalayan.id, Mr. Harya from Minacharia, Mr. Bayu from Fishlock, and last but not least, our Wonder Woman, Mrs. Hannah from West Fortune. Thank you very much.
Give applause for the 3 startups from Indonesia. Terima kasih. The next session, we will hear the presentation from Mr. Frank Mars, philanthropist and the leader of Mars Foundation. And the second, Mrs. Cherry Nur Salim from Business and Sustainable Development from Indonesia. And Mr. N. Kitan from Conservation International Board Member, Chairman of Program Committee.
Your Excellencies, Ministers, honorable delegates, participants, Governor, thank you for the opportunity, particularly to the coordinating minister, who's been very supportive of what I'm about to show you and encouraged me to come here and present this to you. So, you're probably wondering why a member of the Mars family is standing in front of you. You know us for our brands, you probably don't know the company. It's actually a UK company, so I'm going to bring the islands into this. This particular business is actually the UK based. The brands you see highlighted there, we buy tuna, we use skipjack byproducts, which obviously are common throughout the Coral Triangle. We use carrageenan, which is farmed from coastal communities across the Philippines and Indonesia, in particular Sulawesi. We you're going too fast. Backwards, please. Thank you. The M&Ms, when you eat an M&M, you are eating cocoa beans that come from Papua New Guinea and Sulawesi as well. And Governor, for you, there's coconut from North Sulawesi in the mountain bar. So, next slide. We all know climate change is an issue. This is from the current Coral Watch website. And that's the prediction for how hot the water is going to get in January, February, this next year, across the Pacific. So we are seeing another bleaching crisis probably coming this year. Now, there's lots of reefs that look like this around the world, including here in Indonesia. And because Sulawesi is so important to Mars Incorporated, about 10 years ago, we started a marine research program here, looking at how we can rebuild reefs. And what I can tell you is it's not only feasible, but it can be done very quickly. But not like this. So if you go online and you type in coral restoration, you will see lots of pictures like this. This is humans thinking that they're smarter than everybody, trying to think about rebuilding coral reefs as humans. And you'll see that what they are doing, basically, is coral doesn't grow on sand. It doesn't like to swim. It doesn't have fins. You'll see there are lots of people scrubbing algae. Right? So humans, you can scrub algae with toothbrushes, or you can let the fish do it for you. In order to actually, right now you have. So this quote is from Professor Steve Simpson from the University of Exeter in the United Kingdom. Right? If we want to rebuild a reef, it's important to think like a fish, not like a human. It's important to think from a structural habitat perspective. The key to rebuilding coral reefs is not the coral. It is the herbivorous fish that manage the algae on the reef. So for the past 8 years, we've been conducting research across 2 islands off Makassar. We've built about 3 hectares of reef underwater. The first island, Kulubadi, has been a development island where we've tried different things. The second island we started 2 years ago, in conjunction with everybody you see there, And this is a scientific experiment. There are rules around this. There's a whole bunch of different people around the world involved. And we're building it systematically. Every month, for 8 months of the year, a small team builds the equivalent of this room in 3 days. 500 spiders, about 7,000 coral fragments. With a team of two dive boats, about 5 divers, and 40 members of the local community. Now we use what's called a coral spider. And we had a very important visitor, unfortunately, the late Senator McCain came to see it when he visited Indonesia a number of years ago. Basically, it's a rebar structure. We wanted to come up with something that could be replicated across the world by any island community or coastal community. It's standard rebar, which is then rust prevented, coated in epoxy, coated in coarse sand, and then we tie on fragments that are collected within the region or actually from the nurseries that we build. We then put these fragments on the reef flat, and we tie them together in a web. We can build around anything. And you can see that what happens is when a reef is damaged and the fragments want to come back to life, they can't come back to life when they're floating in the muck. By lifting that coral just enough out and keeping it close to the reef floor, the coral takes off. Now this is not our idea. This idea was actually created initially by the Maldives, so another island state. Their version was bigger. We chose to adapt it and make it smaller. This is all community-based. The spiders are made by the island communities. The islanders help fragment it, and we're slowly teaching them also how to build and help with the building. This is what it looks like. So on the second island, Pulabatasua, this is after 14 months of growth. You put coral in the right place and give it the right environment, it will just grow. We're now actually working with Bali High. They operate a tour operation in Lambangan Island off of Bali. They're engaging tourists in it. And this is an example of a reef just before a storm actually flattened it, unfortunately. The spiders stayed down, which is good, because one of the questions we had scientifically was, could the spiders withstand high current and high waves? And we staked down the spiders on the leading edge, and they did. So the answer is a scientific question. We published a paper with the University of Hasanusa, University of California, Davis, scientifically demonstrating 70% cover in 2 years. It is possible to rebuild coral cover. We held a workshop here with the assistance of Coordinating Minister as well. His team participated. And along with Paul Allen Philanthropies and IUCN, I happen to be an IUCN patron of nature as well. Key outcomes from the workshop were 2 things. One, coral spiders seem to be a very scalable methodology to rebuild a reef. Second one is you can actually use acoustic monitoring now. This is science that's been done by Professor Simpson at the University of Exeter. You can listen to a reef. For those of you who grew up on reefs, this is nothing new to you. You know what a live reef sounds like. But you can now actually measure that with the help of the reef and scale it. And you can also use the sound to attract fish to the reef. This is the paper that the University of Exeter team published with the Australians. Now, just last week, the Vulcan team, Paul Allen, introduced a new way of looking at reefs from satellites. So here's another tool which could be used before you start rebuilding a reef to actually figure out what you want to do and where. As you can see, you probably recognize a few people in that picture, but at the IMF meeting recently, the coordinating minister helped lead an exercise where 200 spiders were put out in the Nusa Dua Coral Garden. This past year, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry has been doing different testing around Indonesia to see what worked. Unbeknownst to us, they were testing our spiders. We didn't know about that until they came to us. And it turned out it tested the best. So as a result of that, 2 weeks ago, we actually hosted and trained a 3-day workshop from 38 officials from across the 10 national parks in the methodology for rebuilding reefs. Now, this is what everybody sells. You look at the cover of Garuda magazine. It's a water, beach, right? This is what consumers see. They make a decision where they're going to go based on the experience that they're going to have, lying on the sand, swimming in the water, snorkeling, etc. Today, the responsibility, with the exception of the Maldives, and I think Madagascar, if I remember correctly, responsibility for all the resort operators stops at the water's edge. The only thing that they will do is they will clean up the marine debris and the sargassum that washes up. They have no responsibility for the health of the marine ecosystem, which actually makes that beach. This is how it works. I don't have to educate most of you in this room because you know from a livelihood perspective the importance of a healthy coral ecosystem. But basically, it's all interconnected. And everybody has to start thinking about it. You can take a sand analysis and actually look at the sand and say how much of it comes from the coral, how much of it comes from the parrotfish, how much of it comes from everything else. Now, parrotfish. Absolutely critical. Most consumers have no idea that when they are lying on your beaches, they are lying on what comes out the backside of parrotfish. 200 pounds of sand a year. Now you can start to think about how much sand do I need to replenish every year. You can actually say I need this many parrotfish. Parrotfish eat coral. How much coral do I need? You can actually scientifically back into it. So when you look at what's possible in terms of rebuilding a reef, that's 1 hectare. You normally will build around the areas of live reef. That's where the fish are. You sequentially build it such that you grow with the fish. You cannot grow faster than the fish will manage the algae. But it's possible to grow. The cost in a country like here, it's about $250,000 a hectare. It can be less depending upon how much you need to do. That's all in. In Australia, it would be double that. Now, so that means one resort could actually build a hectare every 2 years. And a typical resort would only have about 2 hectares of beachfront, if that. So, pictures are interesting, videos are better. This is what a reef looks like and sounds like after we put spiders down. You'll notice you don't hear very much, other than the diver breathing. See how you can build around the reef that's laying there, and how the fragments are tied onto the spiders. This is on a reef flat, about 3 meters. This is what it looks like and sounds like 2 years later. science for all over is not going to solve any of our problems or any of your problems. This needs to be funded by those who are benefiting from it. If you haven't already done so, you need to protect the parrotfish and the other fish that eat the reef. Right? It's critical to the long-term survival of your coastal islands. They make the sand because people want to lie on it. They eat the reef, but that allows the reef to grow, and it's that coastal reef that actually is the wall that prevents the ocean from coming and absorbs all the energy. The hospitality industry, who profits from all this, they've looked at this from a free perspective. Right? They have not really there's been some programs and they've done it under CSR. Fundamentally, they now need to be held accountable for the maintenance and the sustainability of these reefs. They all have resort maintenance, refurbishment, and landscaping budgets. I'm proposing they need to add coral reef seascaping budgets or coastal seascaping budgets to what they need to do. They really should be responsible for this, and you can help do this by thinking about this and enabling policies and regulations that shift the economic burden from you to the industries that are actually driving the economics and profiting from this. So, this is a 3-year picture. Before I say thank you, I would like to present Luba with an honorary official building coral cap and the opportunity to present to you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the next presentation will be delivered by Ms. Cherry Nur Salim from Business and Sustainable Development Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. I love the opening when so I love the opening when the minister was showing Moana, the rim story. I think it's probably a Disney story. My daughter loves the movie, and she's I think would love that if this Moana could become like representation of fighting the climate change. I think we are here today for a reason, and I think the minister just asked us to talk about blended finance, and we will talk quickly about it, and we hope that this could actually inspire some alignment of the AIS towards a movement. I think earlier Frank Mas talked about business. I also come from a business family, the Gajah Tonga Group or GT Group, and we also believe in better business, better world, and blended finance is very much about that. So Indonesia has championed this. It was a proposal from the Business and Sustainable Development Commission that I'm one of the members of. Actually, Mas is also, the CEO is also on the board. Next slide. So I would like to congratulate the government of Indonesia. I think at that time, since the president endorsement, many of the ministries has come together, the ministers as well as agencies, to move forward about how can blended finance work, as Indonesia will host the largest finance meeting of the year in Ballroom. Next slide. And we quickly put together partners, the co-organizers, the government, our foundation, United University Foundation, the world's largest business organization, International Chambers of Commerce, Business and Sustainable Development Blended Finance Task Force and the UN SDS10 network. We also have many supporting partners from the World Bank, WEF, IFC, IMF, OECD, CDB, Milken Institute, and many others. So next slide. It was announced last year at the UN, around the UNGA, by the ICC Secretary General. Next slide. It was an event that Indonesia was one of the co-hosts with other collaboration. Next slide. So, can you play this?
To solve the world's problems, the United Nations and world leaders launched 17 goals called the Sustainable Development Goals to make for a better and happier world. The first 10 goals are inclusiveness, humanitarian, social, and people problems. The next 5 goals are about sustainability and nature. Finally, goals 16 and 17 on peace and partnership are about spiritual values. Having harmonies with people, nature, and the spiritual make the world a happy place. This is the SDG pyramid to happiness.
ICC required the government of Indonesia to co-host a major development finance forum like the 2028 annual World Bank, IMF, and AIS in Ballroom.
Commission for Climate and others. So this has been in the video. So can you just go through? Yeah. So just the blended finance concept is a support of both collaboration of government or philanthropies in terms of the concessional funding, and then it is matched by the private sector. And there's been many research done, and I'll be happy to let you have the links to all the sites on the research by the Commission. Just move forward. So I think there's been many principles that have been mapped out and streamlined this champion, especially the launch of funds, SDG, the first blended finance fund under the SMI. So what is the outcome, just keep going, what is the outcome of the event? So this, the event, so this is actually at Kura Bali. We actually held Trita Karana for Clean Bali, President Jim Kim, and this was the first, the tallest architecture building made of bamboo in the world. And I think some of the efforts to this is about how do you develop in a way that is sustainable. And I think we would like to champion, or at least part of that process. Next slide. So Indonesia having held blended finance forums, the President has also talked to the ASEAN leaders and will be talking to other leaders in the World Bank and beyond. Next slide. Next slide, sorry. So just some of the outcomes from the event. This is a key outcome. Indonesia launched the first blended fund, SDG blended fund, and I think you see UNDP there. And I think we are very grateful for all the partners and support from around the world. So the structure, the first tranche are actually to support feasibility studies, there are grants. And then the second part is de-risking facilities, sorry, go back to de-risking facilities where it is longer term payback and also lower interest. But then they will be able to crowd in. So projects that are longer term, that are linked to certain SDG goals would be able to would be feasible as a result of this support. And there are different structures. I think Seychelles did the blue bond. That is, I think green bond was first launched by Luxembourg. These are all blended finance. And so I think the idea is to expand blended financing. And there's a Trita Karana roadmap that is being signed by a lot of the partners. We invite the AIS and many countries to join this movement that Indonesia has initiated. Prubaya here is actually the co-chair together with Maliki from the Ministerial Finance. Next slide. So these are some of the projects from that one. So that event mobilized actually $10 billion. Next slide. Sorry. This is the opening. You had World Bank CEO Naoko Ishii contributed $4 billion from the GDF. We have Paul Pullman and many others, the CDP president and others. So, next slide. So Christine Lagarde was also there and spoke. We have many dignitaries, Nobel laureates and partners. This is a real collaboration. Next slide. Sorry, just a short. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that was actually the president's speech, but I don't know, the video didn't play out. So I think I will end here because of the time. But I think I would like to thank the Minister and the Maritime and many partners who made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Next presentation, Mr. Enki Tan from Conversation International Board member as the chairman of the program committee.
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, chair of the meeting, Dr. Good, UNDP, it's my honor to speak to you here. I'm also from a business group, but I have been on the board of Conservation International for the past 15 years. And at CI, we have been working in 77 countries for the past 30 years to deal with forest issues, climate, and oceans. We have worked with many of your countries here in the Pacific, in the Eastern Pacific, in the oceanscapes, in the Indian Ocean, and even Iceland. The former president of Iceland, Oliver Grimson, and the former president of Kiribati, Anate Tong, worked with us as our senior fellow to deal with some of these problems. So, I don't know if you can show a video, but in the past 20 years, we have been dealing with science and policy. So, we find that as we work, the problems that we face together as island nations, we see a very similar trend. We see a similar trend of climate change issues, as we stated earlier, with overfishing, reef problems, with jobs, training. So we're thinking conserving the reefs, conserving the MPAs, marine protected areas, is not sufficient. So what do we do next? How do we connect us to the market? How do we connect us to business to scale up and to fix some of the problems? So this is a very timely quote from Paul Romer, who just received his Nobel Prize this month for economics on climate change and conservation. Yeah. So this is the key. How do we implement this structure? So I want to give you an example, this is a very short example of how we're going to work with the Indonesian government, the Fisheries Ministry, and the Maritime Ministry, and also possibly the UNDP and others to come up with a solution. Yeah. Next slide. So just a picture of West Papua. You can see CI and other NGOs and the government and the local community have been working here in the past 15 years in a very urgent manner to protect this area. This area has 75% of the global species of fish and corals, 75%, very rich. It is basically the Yosemite National Park, the Grand Canyon of Indonesia. It is the Eiffel Tower of Indonesia. It's the pyramids of Giza. It's the most important part of Indonesia in terms of biodiversity. So we have been working the past 15 years in the darker areas are the MPAs that's already been earmarked or signed by the government of Indonesia. So all the way from the Bird's Head to Cendrawasih Bay to the south. These are the areas with the highest amount of biodiversity. The problem is, after we've earmarked the MPAs, where do we go forward? The cost to maintain an MPA is very high in terms of rangers, in terms of community development, in terms of in protecting it. Very high cost. And if it has a high cost to the government and the people, and it doesn't generate an income, it becomes a high burden. Yeah. So how do we monetize this? How do we structure a way so that we can solve several problems at one time? Yeah. So we thought of an idea called the Blue Halo. The Blue Halo is not a new idea, but the critical thing is how do we structure the whole system together so that it can work as one, yeah. And how do we scale up? So this is quite a busy chart, but I'll explain it a little bit. So if you see on the right side, the light blue is the marine protected area. That one are the areas that we have already spent years of scientific research and money and government regulations to protect. But how do we make it sustainable? How do we make it financially sustainable? We're thinking we have to create a kind of fishing concession. Right now, the fishing concession is done, like many places we talk about IUU, about fishing license. The management of the fishing is not the way that we manage many of the resources on land in Indonesia. For example, in Indonesia, we manage mines or forestry or plantations. There is a concession. That means the concession manager has the responsibility to make sure that the natural resources are protected, is make sure that they operate in a lawful manner, make sure that they pay taxes, and they also develop the community to support the people. So we want to create concessions that will support the marine protected area, but at the same time support local fishermen in their needs and also jobs. Yeah. Now, once you have that sustainable production, you can then go to the market. And then with the market, we can go backwards, and with a steady income and stable equity, we can then raise funds from blended finance sources. Yeah. These funds can go to support microcredit, but it also go to support infrastructure building for climate resilience. Yeah, building of cold storage, cold chain to increase the price of the product. This is important because it will also help the GDP of the government. The fisheries industry is only 2.6% of the GDP of Indonesia. It should be much bigger. Yeah. We should be able to collect more taxes, we should be able to support more fishermen, and we decrease the IUU. The idea is to do this using blockchain and big data. So we can disperse microcredit using blockchain instead of cash. We can manage that on big data. We can monitor some of the activities like what you showed earlier with satellite and other types of monitoring and collect the data to feed back to the investors. So we create a very transparent investment system structure to allow the investors to see where their money is going and what impact they can create and what return. So we hope that Seychelles has done already the blue bond, others are doing it. So let's see how we can work together and create some structure. We're going to do this prototype in Raja Ampat, and we hope to report back to you when we get progress. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your inspiring presentation. Allow me now to announce the winner of the Visual-a-thon competition organized by Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and UNDP. From more than hundreds of participants, the committee selected 4 winners. The winners are number 1, Oki Haryanto, PGRI Indraprasta University. Number 2, Tasya Putri Dita, Indonesia International Institute for Life Science. And number 3, Alpha Nadia Maimana, Gajah Mada University. Excellency and Distinguished Delegate, allow me to invite His Excellency Jacob Jose Gosmal, the Vice Martin of Timor-Leste, Honorable Alexis Jeffers of St. Kitts and Nevis, and Honorable Semit Tuleka, Honorable Spesiu of Fiji, to subsequently present the award to the third, the second, and the first winners of the competition. Please.
We invite His Excellency Mr. Joaquim Jose Gusmao Reis Martin of Timor-Leste to present the awards to the third winners. To present the awards to the third winner. Honorable Mr. Alexis Dever of St. Kitts and Nevis to present the awards, the second winner. And the last, the Honorable Mr. Senituleka Koroi Lafeso of Fiji to present the awards for the first winner.
Kami persilakan para pemenang untuk dapat kembali ke tempat. Mohon berkenan para pemenang dapat diberikan selamat dan berfoto bersama dari Bapak Menko Bidang Kemaritiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we can move to the next agenda item, the signing of statement of intent that demonstrated our commitment to move forward in this operation. After having the AIS forum established, we can now move forward to start developing concrete agendas on our future cooperation and dialogue. In order to ensure those to run smoothly, the government of Indonesia is of the view that the forum needs a secretariat. In this regard, Indonesia and UNDP will sign a statement of intent that will become a basis to run the secretariat of AIS forum. Now please allow me to invite Mr. Christopher Bowhead, Country Director of UNDP, representing UNDP, and Mr. Purbaya Yuda Sadewa, Deputy Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs of Indonesia, representing the Government of Indonesia to sign the statement of intent platform. Without further ado, I would like to invite a representative of startup, private sector. Right. Thank you, Mr. Bowhead and Mr. Sadewa. I am hoping the cooperation will become stronger in the future to achieve goals of the establishment of AIS Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really grateful that finally we can have the forum officially established, and I believe it is the right time for us to work on more concrete action for the good of all of us, Archipelagic and Island State. Now please allow me to invite Mr. Co-Chair, Mr. Christopher Bowhead, to start this agenda by delivering presentation on outline of our possible future concrete activities. After the presentation, I will invite all delegates to give comments and recommendations. Mr. Bowhead, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, the AIS Forum has selected a number of big areas on which it will work, and those are the climate change mitigation and adaptation, which include disaster preparedness and building of resilience, the blue economy and sustainable fisheries, disaster and risk management, marine blasting debris, and good maritime governance. Now, the idea that are emerging are basically for what we will be doing next year under the AIS forum are basically under those areas. But let me just give you a flavor and some example of what we can do, and partly the kind of approach that the AIS forum would like to take with the Secretary when it is established with the support of the government of Indonesia. One important focus would be information technology and innovation. And for instance, there are ideas that are being developed on how AIS forum can actually help the use of big data and algorithms for weather prediction and disaster preparedness. And we would actually think of doing this with the Indonesian Institute for Meteorology and Climatology, and also with a university network, Indonesian universities, and also universities from your countries. We will also try to support research, and you will see under the items the idea of supporting research for marine monitoring, coral reef health assessment, which could be done with the Research Center for Oceanography of the Indonesian Institute for Science, and maybe some other research institutes in participating countries, but research will be an important dimension. Blue economy is mentioned, but how do we approach blue economy? One proposal that needs to be developed, but is worth exploring, is actually a Blue Economic Development Index, which will help strengthen and integrate the coastal and marine management. Startup will be important. We started already, and you get some example. I think the AIS forum at Secretary will continue to upgrade startup in terms of capitalizing on their ideas, trying to disseminate their ideas, also maybe facilitate the access to financing so they can scale up their activities, and also the sharing of investment. So what is being piloted in one country can also be shared with other countries. More broadly, the private sector will be important, and you will see several references to the private sector in the proposed activities, including trying to identify solutions for marine plastic debris through a responsible business forum discussion, and also some initiative to try to have marine protection areas sponsored by companies along the line of what Tom just presented, and have championed and basically it's a kind of competition idea among the company and the parks, and then try also to have some kind of national teams that can also share the experience with other countries. We will do this looking also at the issue of financing, which I mentioned earlier, and the Innovative Financing Lab will be used to try to explore new mechanisms, new instruments, work with partners looking at really blended finance opportunities, green bonds, blue bonds, and we look forward to working with people who are already engaged in this and have just presented a very interesting idea and in particular. And finally, we will continue engaging with the youth. And you saw at the entrance this exhibition of the visual film that UNDP and Kemenko Maritime just organized. And the results, I think, are quite impressive, not only in terms of number of young people who actually submitted their proposal, but also in terms of the quality. And if you have not had a chance, I would really encourage you, with Pablo, we just toured the exhibition, I would really encourage you to take a look at it. And I think we're going to do more of this because it's very important for awareness raising, to engage young people, to engage citizens. And I think the idea of the visual turn is not only to do it in Indonesia, but that's also something that can be shared and replicated in other island states. So those are just a few ideas. They will mature as we work with the Secretariat, but I think it will be also important for other participating countries to also provide suggestion ideas on what can be done under the umbrella of the Archipelagic and Island States Forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Boget. I will now invite all the delegates who wish to raise a question or comment on this meeting, please, if any. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the last agenda of our meeting. Please allow me to deliver Chair's conclusion. I would like Chair conclusion of the first ministerial meeting at Archipelagic and Island State AIS Forum, Manado, Indonesia, 1st November 2018. Number one, the government of Indonesia, the government of the Republic of Indonesia, and United Nations Development Program (UNDP) organized the first ministerial meeting of the Archipelagic and Island State of Manado, Indonesia, on the 1st November 2018. The meeting was attended by representatives of countries, namely Cabo Verde, Cuba, Cyprus, Fiji, Guinea-Bissau, Indonesia, Jamaica, Japan, Malta, Madagascar, Papua New Guinea, the Philippines, St. Kitts and Nevis, Sao Tome and Principe, Seychelles, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Suriname, Timor-Leste, Congo, and United Kingdom. The meeting was held, a follow-up of series of senior official meetings on the establishment of Archipelagic and Island States Forum. The last meeting was held in Manado on the 31st October 2018. Number three, in the opening of the meeting, His Excellency Luhut Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, delivered remarks on behalf of the President of Indonesia. The President highlighted that the Archipelagic state possess various and wide spectrum of resources that need to be addressed strategically. The first ministerial meeting of AIS in Indonesia is expected to create a more inclusive collaboration through a smart and innovative thinking and solution. The meeting agreed that regardless of number of islands, size of archipelagos, level of economic development, and technical advancement, the fact remains the small island state or largest island state face similar challenges. Therefore, AIS Forum is expected to become a platform for cooperation, knowledge exchange, technical assistance, and access to finance by utilizing smart innovative solutions and providing alternative financing options. Furthermore, the meeting also highlighted that AIS Forum will become a development forum that complements the existing fora at the regional or global level, thereby avoiding duplication. Number 5, the meeting adopted the joint declaration of the establishment of AIS Forum as attached. The joint declaration will become the foundation of AIS Forum future activities and programs. Number 6, the meeting highlighted the importance of taking practical steps to ensure the continuity and effectiveness of forum activities in the future. In this regard, AIS Forum will be working closely with the United Nations Development Program. Number 7, further the participants indicated a strong support for concrete, innovative solutions to this issue. They expressed their highest appreciation of the competition held by Government of Indonesia and UNDP called Plankton. But the young generation were invited to create infography that will be used as a platform to raise awareness among young generation on the threat of marine plastic debris to the environment and society. This kind of activity can be used as an embryo to be developed in the future under AIS cooperation. Number 8, the participants extended their appreciation to Indonesia and UNDP for hosting the meeting and the support for the establishment of AIS Forum. Number 9, the government of Indonesia, the government of the Republic of Indonesia and UNDP expressed their appreciation to all delegations for their valuable contribution to the meeting. Manado, 1st November 2018. Now I would like to invite all delegations to deliver their concluding remarks. I would like to start by inviting Fiji, Honorable Semi Tuleka. Any comment?
Excellencies, honorable ministers and delegates. Visitors would like to join Indonesia in congratulating and thanking everyone coming to this forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Saint Kitts and Nevis, Honorable Alexis Jebers.
Thank you very much, and I would also want to thank the government and people of Indonesia for organizing this forum and to bring all of the delegates together with one common purpose, and that is to ensure that we're working towards a goal of achieving the 17 sustainable development goals that have been laid out. I believe we can achieve those, and of course it will take partnership all across the room and all across the various small island states to achieve that. And I want to once again reaffirm the commitment of the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis in ensuring that we're working with all of the other small islands to ensure that we achieve these goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Timor-Leste, His Excellency Joseph Guzmão.
Thank you. Timor-Leste wants to congratulate the establishment of this forum and look forward to have a cooperation among Islamic country to implement the joint legislation that we have already agreed today. And also, Timor-Leste proud to have a fellow countries speaking English-speaking countries that are joining with this AIS forum, namely Cabo Verde, San Francisco, and Guinea-Bissau. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cabo Verde. Is that correct, Excellency? Please.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to once again thank our Indonesian government and UNDP, and especially the team who worked on this for the excellent work provided, for the very warm welcome. And I would like to pick up something. I'm not sure if it was our colleague from Sri Lanka or from Cuba yesterday during our Sun meeting suggested to set up a platform where we could very easily communicate one with another, whether it's an email list or any other platform that's considered appropriate. On a quite informal, so we could quickly share with each other what are you doing, what am I doing, and look for solutions.
Yes, we'll organize this with us. No problem.
It was not my idea,
yes.
But
she is a bit...
I'm not sure I can suggest it.
Yeah. She has a health problem, so she cannot join us now. Okay. From Cuba, she's absent. Junior Bissau, Secretary Mr. Carlos Antonio.
Apenas mais uma vez para agradecer o acolhimento, a atenção que fomos dando desde a nossa chegada e a forma de saber como vem conduzido o trabalho que está a da conferência.
Excellencies, just thank you. This great event, all delegates now said very well, and also the way Excellency conducted this meeting.
E dizer que a dimensão vai aproveitar essa experiência e eu pessoalmente me encarregar de levar tudo quanto é documento para o Ministério das Pescas.
This is a very good experience for Guinea-Bissau, and all documents taken from here will be delivered to the Ministry of Fisheries of Guinea-Bissau.
Foi uma excelente oportunidade que tivemos de estar aqui e viver a experiência de outros povos e partilham as mesmas dificuldades conosco.
This is a great opportunity, very excellent, where Guinea-Bissau also share the ideas of other countries.
São 88 ilhas,
8 islands.
Experience film the cake also comes at your own the some muito valuable in itself.
What we get from here is very important for Guinea-Bissau.
Pelo que devo agradecer mais uma vez e já com a saúde ao presidente e aos demais colaboradores da conferência.
Once again, thank you very much, and I wish all the best, good health for Chair and all people who cooperate for this meeting.
Obrigado, Barak. From Malta, Mr. His Excellency Stephen Bull.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like others, I'd like to congratulate you, Minister, and your team for bringing this meeting to a successful conclusion. And to assure everyone here of our commitment to work together on our common objectives. We are looking forward to know more about what comes next. I'm already being asked by Ministry what are the next steps. So at the great review, let us have your ideas on that. Thank you.
Thank you. From Sri Lanka, His Excellency Darsana Pereira.
Thank you, Excellency. Sri Lanka joined us in congratulating you and your team for the successful convening and conclusion of the ministerial meeting. We are very supportive of the outcome, and we look forward to working with all AIS countries to take the program forward. We're also very interested in progressing on the forward program as presented by the MPP a little while ago. We think it's a good way of projecting ourselves and working towards concrete goals in the next few months and year ahead. Once again, thank you to the government of Indonesia for their support, and we look forward to working with all of you in our common objective of addressing these challenges faced by the Archipelagic and island states. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Come to Madagascar. I would like to invite Madagascar, Mr. Rafael Tostoantelli.
Oui, je voudrais, au nom de notre gouvernement, je voudrais remercier et féliciter le gouvernement de l'Indonésie de l'effort qu'ils ont montré pour la réalisation de ce forum, de n'avoir pas oublié même les îles lointaines, petites et grandes.
On behalf of the government of Madagascar, I would like to thank and congratulate the government of Indonesia for having very successfully organized this forum, for all the efforts made into it, and also for not having forgotten the islands that are far away.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Papua New Guinea, Mr. Frank Niziki.
Thank you, Chair. Papua New Guinea, like other speakers and the distinguished delegates around here, acknowledge the joint effort that has brought us here. We in Papua New Guinea, like I mentioned earlier on, we have attended the three programs. Some of the lessons learned, experiences we cannot be able to share with the new innovative technology, etc., to move forward in this regard. So, in conclusion, I'd like to thank Indonesia for having to bring together all the SOM, all the three meetings preceding this, and
Thank you very much. I would like to invite from Japan, Mr. Tadayuki Miyashita.
Thank you very much. I'd like to echo all the statements made by my colleagues before me, and I also would like to join in congratulating both Indonesian government and UNDP for having a successful meeting. And we think we all understand this is very much productive and constructive meeting to address the issue of our own challenges. So we hope it will be continued. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite the Philippines, Mr. Manuel Ayap.
Your Excellency, Mr. Chair, the Philippines congratulates Indonesia for the successful meeting. Again, we thank Indonesia for giving this delegation a chance to participate and benefit from the sound ideas shared in this forum. And for those ideas, this delegation extends its gratitude to all distinguished participants. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to invite Jamaica, Mr. Soipadidi.
Congratulations to the government of Indonesia, the UNDP, for this very remarkable initiative, but also noteworthy. Congratulations to all the island countries and archipelagic countries for the establishment of this very remarkable forum. When discussions started with the environmental issues such as problems caused by the impact of the climate change and the pollution caused to the shores, coast, in particular to the island archipelago and island states, allow me to salute the idea of looking at the sea and the ocean as our legacy, as put as the theme of the OOC 2 days ago in Bali. But also the hope that the sea and the ocean, with its abundant resources still so much untapped, let's make the sea as and the ocean as our future. For the reason, let us look forward to a brighter future with promising potential when we will meet again, while yet we keep our eyes closely at the environmental issues and let's continue to find ways to Thank you.
Thank you. Cyprus, I'd like to invite Mr. Harjuni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Government of Cyprus would like to thank you very much for the government of Indonesia, and the meeting is doing well and on schedule. I would like to report to the government of Cyprus as soon as we can get this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Singapore, Mr. Suresh Kumar.
On behalf of Singapore, I'd like to congratulate the Indonesian government and especially the coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs, including Pak Purbaya and his colleagues, in organizing this successful meeting. Singapore looks forward to the development of the AIS as a forum for concrete development solutions to practical problems that are faced by archipelagic and island states.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the United Kingdom, Mr. Adrian Jones.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the United Kingdom, I'd like to congratulate Indonesia, in particular University Group Department, for organising this event so well, and also the government for hosting us so well here, which has been so amazing. I'd also like to particularly thank the startup and the civil society groups for their inspiring presentations on how to deliver real action to preserve, to use sustainably, and in some cases to rebuild our shared environment. I think that's really important to hear that kind of detailed action, and I think that's the real added value that this will provide. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'd like to invite Sao Tome and Principe, Mr. Jajaldi Pires de Santos Aguirre.
Thank you, Chair. Also want to say on behalf of the government of the new Catholic Republic and May Christmas, to congratulate the Indonesian government and authorities and all the personnel involved in the logistics and the preparation of this very important meeting. It is indeed a very valuable lesson that we take to implement and develop our climate resilience and blue economy in the we are standing now. I asked for the meeting because we are in the Grand Kawanua. So they told me that Kawanua stands for family. This means that we are sitting in the big grand family. And I think it that not only the Archipelagic and the island states, but also everyone that is engaged in address the problems and the issues that we have been discussing here. We are indeed a part of a great family. And as a family, no one gets left behind. Everyone has to work together, everyone has to share their ideas, their views, and everyone has to grow a nation and to help each other to achieve a common goal. That's the spirit that I wish to take from here. So thank you once again.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Suriname, Mr. Satis Mohon. Please.
I would like to congratulate everybody for the work done and the work to be done after the establishment of the AIS forum. I'd also like to thank the Republic of Indonesia for hosting this meeting.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Sanchilas, Mr. Nico Barito.
Thank you, Chair. Seychelles stands together with the other delegates to congratulate Indonesia for the hard work and innovative approach of Archipelagic Island States forums. And we are looking forward also for a more balance, because from Indian Ocean here I only have my colleague from Madagascar and Sri Lanka. So it seems like we want the Archipelagic Islands to be more balanced, balancing and connecting the ocean of the world between Pacific and Indian Oceans. And we have a lot of small island nations also in the Indian Oceans. And considering the significant role that Seychelles is playing now in IOC and IOTC, where we are also the host of the Secretariat, we also avail ourselves to support Indonesia to be a Secretariat of the AIS in the Indian Ocean and socialize the mission. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Tonga, Mr. Paula Popolamau.
Thank you, Chairman, for your leadership and everyone for a successful conference. Now we have adopted the Manado Declaration and we look forward to the next steps to achieve these goals.
Thank you. The last is Indonesia, Mr. Febrian Alpianto.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for your leadership in chairing this meeting, as well as I would like to congratulate other participating countries and ministers for their very able participating role in this particular issues. And of course, we are looking forward that we will be able to materialize all action program that we already discussed. Thank you, Mr.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your statement. And after hearing all the concluding remarks, allow me to give my closing remark. Ministers, ambassadors, Governor Oli, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to begin my remarks by extending my gratitude and appreciation for your participation in this meeting. I am extremely excited on the outcome of our meeting this morning. I believe it will provide a solid foundation for further cooperation and collaboration. And I believe we are all here because we share similar view that as the archipelagic and island nation, we should be in the front row of global action to address various ocean challenges that impact our livelihood and our capacity to develop sustainably. This is why Indonesia sees the important establishing of our forum of archipelagic and island state. A forum that will be a development platform for a smart and innovative solution. I am glad that we have come to an agreement and of the establishment of the forum. This forum in the future will become a foundation of practical cooperation and a financial solution to fund climate change projects and to achieve sustainable development goals. I can assure you again and again that Indonesia is very committed to forge a concrete cooperation among archipelagic and island states. Indonesia is also committed to contribute to the establishment of trust fund to support climate change initiatives and development projects in the context of Archipelagic and Island State Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like also to take this opportunity to thank to Frank Marx that will contribute something for this event. And I believe with this presentation we understand that we can do also something like this in some other countries. So Frank, I really from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, because you've been doing so much in Indonesia so far. I would like also maybe you can invite some of your colleagues to do also in some others in the archipelagic island states. And also to Sherry, Mr. Ferry Musali, and I would like also to thank you your presentation about the blended finance. I believe this also can inspire our participants here that we can do also something this related to SDGs. As we are aware, SDGs number 1 and 14, I think is very important in our country. And also to Mr. Enki, I would like to also thank you for your contribution to give also understanding about Blue Halo S. We call it Blue Halo S as a sustainability. So this is, I think, been doing in Papua, the successful story of this project. So we like also to copy this project in other part of Indonesia as well as to the other country member of this AIS forum. If you look at Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen, this is the map of Indonesia. 8 hours flying time from the eastern part of Indonesia, Merauke, to Sabah in the eastern part of the western part of Indonesia. So this is the size of Indonesia, consists of 17,000 islands, and our GDP right now $1.1 trillion, and our economic growth 5.27%. So our inflation 3.3%, which is I think considered as low, and this is the best I think so far that achieved by the government of Indonesia the last 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I think when we establish this cooperation, I believe that we can do a lot. We are not very rich country, we are okay, but we are can be a good model for all of you. Of course, United Kingdom is different. They are already a developed country. We are emerging market. Let's work together. We are not talking about the size. We are not talking about the number of population. We are not talking about whether we are rich or not. But we are talking about the common interest that we are facing today. Like like how do we finance to maintain our stability, our security, our environment in our country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really want to see the progress of this meeting, not only talking like this, nice environment, nice AC, but like to see the implementation. My commitment, our commitment, we have to work together, and I believe collaboration is very, very important. With the strong collaboration among the countries, the archipelagic island states, I think we can achieve something. We don't need too big, but we can do it gradually. Frank Marx already showed us how do we do it, and then you look at in the IMF World Bank meeting, we just do it small, but now the policy of the government of Indonesia, next week we're going to discuss the policy about how do we ask all the investors on the beach have obligation to maintain the coral reef in that area because they enjoy the fruit of that. So this has become a policy. If they want this one work, we can share also this experience to some of our members of Archipelagic States Island. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I should express my sincere gratitude to the provincial government of Manado, to my best friend, Governor Oli, for all their hard work and dedication. Let me also take this opportunity to thank UNDP for the contribution of this event. To my friend, Christopher, I think been working 1 year on this, maybe over 1 year, that we are here today. And the governor also offered me, he said I will put to my state, to my local state budget for the next year program on this. Which I think it is a very generosity of the province to support this one, because we believe with this support that we can move forward much better than today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I will meet you all and other fellow archipelagic and island nations in the next ministerial meeting of AIS Forum. Finally, I wish all of you have a nice stay here in Manado. Manado also very well-known, very nice, very beautiful and very good cuisine. And nice trip back home tomorrow. Again, thank you very much. I wish now I declare the first ministerial meeting of Archipelagic and Island State Forum is officially closed. Thank you very much.
Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is group photo session. I would like to invite Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs Republic of Indonesia, Honorable Governor of North Sulawesi, Country Director of UNDP Indonesia, all ministers, all delegates, Deputy Minister for Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs, to come the stage.
Yeah, I would like also, sorry, I will forget something. I would like also to express my appreciation to the startup. I think this is a thing of view. I would like to add to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, investment in the startup Indonesia this year is going to be around $3.2 billion. Last year, 2017, it was $3.1 billion. One of the very good investment in Indonesia. So then I would do hope that we can do also the same thing in our country, like the experience here. So to the winner of this startup competition, please applause to them. Thank you very much.
Once again, I would like to invite all delegates, ministers, ambassadors, governor to come to the stage for the group photo session. Kami juga mengundang Bapak Sekretaris Daerah Provinsi Sulawesi Utara untuk dapat bergabung bersama dalam sesi foto bersama dengan para menteri, dengan seluruh delegasi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to the working lunch. And then for the information, the working lunch will be held on the other room beside this room. Once more for the information, the working lunch
menikmati sejam santap siang yang tersedia di samping ruangan ini.